The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a climate change conflict won at City Hall. Reacting to the crisis in Eastern Europe.
We definitely.
And construction sites want you. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm your host, Matt Klein. Here's what's happening in our community this week. Many in Vancouver's Ukrainian community are watching and worrying about the crisis in their homeland. Tensions have been rising since Russia moved troops and equipment to the border with Ukraine. Reporter Maurice Katz got to speak to a few locals who are worried about their loved ones back home.
Olga Zarudina calls her parents in Ukraine every day.
Their life is under threat, which they're not panicking, but it's definitely, they're concerned, big time. You can't really plan your future around anything because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or even in 1 hour. That's my hometown.
For Ukrainian UBC graduate Pavlo Lakamov, what worries him the most is the prospect of war.
It's not as if a big nation's going to come in and stroll through it. It's going to be a bloody fight because people are going to fight back and it's going to cause devastation.
Natalia Yatskevich has family right next to the danger.
It's like literally 40 kilometers from the Russian border. And as I told someone before, it's like 1 hour on contemporary tank to the city downtown.
Yatskevich says she's able to keep her worries in check with some help.
Ukrainian community is my passion here. That's my second family away from Ukraine. And actually that's what helps me and probably many others like me to stay relatively calm in times like this.
There's been one common thread between the Ukrainians I've spoken to. They all look forward to when this is over so the world can see Ukraine's true colors.
In those colorful dresses and sing Ukrainian songs and make lots of food and treat everybody around. That's what Ukrainians are truly like. На зв'язку.
Maurice Katz in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Okay.
How did you like the interview?
We're now joined by reporter Maurice Katz. Maurice, what steps are the Canadian government taking to assist Ukraine?
The Canadian government has authorized the extension of Operation Unifier for 3 more years as part of a $340 million commitment. This includes 60 additional troops to join the 200 Canadian armed forces already in Ukraine. These troops will be for training purposes only and will not participate in any physical conflict. Back to you.
Thank you, Maurice. Burnaby residents held a rally outside City Hall this week, urging their council to pass a climate action treaty that other local cities have already adopted. Our reporter Lucas Celli went down to see how it went.
I say people, you say power, people, power, people, power.
Members of the community, young and old, gathered at City Hall on Monday, calling on council to endorse the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty.
We are in a stage where we know that we need to be weaning ourselves off of fossil fuels and working towards a green future, one that is healthier and safer.
It's a treaty that would reinforce the city's efforts to move away from fossil fuel production and stop the expansion of projects like the Trans Mountain Pipeline on Burnaby Mountain.
The longer we delay it, the worse it's going to get.
Later that night, City Council voted unanimously in favor of the motion.
All those in favor? Any opposed? No. Carried unanimous.
Burnaby is the 5th city in BC to endorse this treaty after its neighbor, New Westminster, approved it last month. While the treaty is more of an advocacy agreement rather than a specific plan, one councillor feels it is a necessary step in the right direction.
But we stopped subsidizing fossil fuel production and plants and everything to do with it and put that money into renewable energy, we come up with a solution a lot quicker.
Keithley says economic and labor concerns are some of the arguments against the treaty, but council believes the negative impact of TMX on the environment outweighs the positives.
It's pretty close to going ahead, and our city has been fighting that for like 10 years.
The construction of the TMX pipeline has been a main point of contention for those who support this treaty. BCIT News reached out to Trans Mountain for a comment on the matter, but did not receive a response.
I think that is our hope for the future.
Over 30 cities and 1,000 organizations around the world have now endorsed the Non-Proliferation Treaty in the growing movement to pressure federal and provincial governments to act sooner on climate change. Lucas Chelly in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
A new report from a construction association suggests 2022 will be the busiest in decades. But with massive sections of the workforce leaving and few people trained to replace them, companies are fighting tooth and nail to retain their staff. Reporter Aidan Doherty tells us why.
Construction companies have been moving heaven and earth to get through the pandemic. With 2021 in the rearview mirror, construction companies are preparing for 2022 to be the busiest in decades. But decreasing numbers of skilled laborers have put pressure on contractors to find help.
It's totally an employee's market right now. Like if you wanted to have a new job, you could have a new job tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think that that's exclusive to the construction industry.
The Independent Contractors and Businesses Association says the problem is driven by an aging workforce and not enough people entering the industry to replace them.
The Vancouver Regional Construction Association predicts that within 10 years, the industry could expect a shortfall of more than 13,000 workers if local recruitment efforts aren't increased.
For experienced workers like Griffin Williams, the options for work seem limitless with the shortage of skilled labor.
Well, you have an infinite amount of jobs because there's 1,000 jobs and 100 people trying to do them.
Many businesses are forced to hire temporary foreign workers to keep up with an all-time high in demand for work.
And I feel really bad for the people who are looking for just like a small amount of work done.
The labor shortage affects many contractors and homeowners by raising labor costs and causing major project delays.
I would be surprised if good people aren't booked out at least a year, if not a year and a half to 2 years at this point. So
that's a wrap on this one.
According to the ICBA, in this part of the province, more than half of contractors say they expect to be even busier in 2022. I'm Aidan Doherty in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
SFU students held a protest this week about their return to in-person classes. Because of COVID-19 concerns, over 4,000 students have signed a petition demanding classes remain online. They want the school to provide better protection, including masks, vaccination rules, and ventilation. Coming up after the break, soccer players will soon have a league of their own, and the return of the gym goers. Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. Hundreds of truckers drove across the country to Ottawa this week to protest against vaccination requirements. On January 15th, both Canada and the US brought in new rules for truckers to be vaccinated when crossing the border. The Canadian Trucking Alliance condemned the protest and said the majority of the industry is already vaccinated. Young BC soccer players can look forward to a new opportunity. It's called League One, and it should be in action by this summer. Reporter Tejpal Garcha took to the pitch to find out more.
These are the young players training with the TSS Rovers Football Club in Richmond and may one day get the opportunity to break out in British Columbia's newest soccer league. The inaugural kickoff of League One British Columbia is coming this May. A collection of BC teams with players aged 18 to 23 will lace up their cleats in a new semi-professional soccer league.
So this is kind of sort of for under 23 and down. And like our club, for example, will train during the day. And so if I'm a, I don't know, 27-year-old top player in the VMSL, and I've got a job, a daytime job, maybe I'm married, maybe I have kids and stuff, this isn't really the outlet for them.
League One BC features 7 teams currently, those being the Vancouver Whitecaps Academy, Victoria Highlanders, TSS Rovers, Rivers FC in Kamloops, Unity FC in Langley, Varsity FC, and Altitude FC, both Vancouver-based. League One BC is focused on helping local players excel.
This is really about the Canadian player. And so, yeah, there might be a few players that pop up in this environment. We always get emails from the US, emails from Central America when these things are starting to crop up.
The concept of League One began in Quebec in 2012 and shortly after in Ontario in 2014.
British Columbia, Ontario, and Quebec, we have the largest soccer populations. Ontario being first, Quebec second, ours third. So it makes sense that we're the last one to kind of pull this together.
Teams in League One have begun scouting and putting together their rosters for the May 2022 kickoff, and in a few years, these players may get the chance to join them.
Tejpal Garcha in Richmond for BCIT Magazine.
Gym and fitness center devotees are back working out since COVID-19 restrictions were loosened last week. I visited a few locations to discover how everyone is feeling about the changes.
Getting back into the gym to start that New Year's resolution has begun. COVID-19 cases in BC were soaring in late December, which called for a province-wide suspension of 4 weeks. Gym members were left without a lot of important lifestyle routines they relied on.
Yeah, it was a huge inconvenience for me because not only does it affect you mentally, you can't do the things that you enjoy that keep you occupied and keep your mental state healthy, but it affects your body. You lose a lot of the progress that you've made, which can further deepen mental stress for some people.
Case counts rose rapidly. On December 29th, the 7-day average was more than 2,000. January 4th and 10th, it rose to over 4,000. The 7-day average then dropped on January 24th to 1,276.
Just the capacity is between 100 and 110 like that, but never reached the capacity yet.
One personal trainer says,
our business has been getting hit really hard, as you can imagine. On the bright side, we're open for business and people are still able to, come and utilize the gym. Each of the trainers lost about 20 to 30% of their clients.
And there is certain mask rules in place for the gyms and everything. And so I feel like it's safe and everything gets wiped down after each use. So yeah, I feel good.
With COVID numbers going down, it is easy for people like Jeremy to get back into the rhythm of healthy fitness. I'm Matt Klein in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. Lunar New Year celebrations are starting. It's the Year of the Tiger. It officially begins on February 1st, but you can check out the Lantern City art installations at Granville Island starting tonight. And Lunar Fest celebrations are happening at the Vancouver Art Gallery Plaza on February 5th and 6th. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com. Thanks for watching and supporting BCIT Magazine. I'm Matt Klein. Have a great day.